Okay, there we go. How about that? All right, let's go live.
All right, now we're going live.
Let's do this.
We're live on Facebook, obviously.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world show made for fans by a fan. I am your host, as always, Richard Tieman. This is the Fan Show, and this is our first ever simulcast, and what better way to do it than with my good friends in Elephant Gun Riot. Welcome, guys. How are you this evening?
Fantastic.
Awesome.
How are you?
I'm doing great. This is a monumental occasion, and I remember when Zach and I talked about the idea of doing this, I was like, yeah, I mean, why not? It's good for both of us. This works out very well. You've got the space and the technology, and I've got the platform. We can both, with our powers combined, promote our show, our band, and then your guys' upcoming show. So that worked out well.
Absolutely. With these powers combined.
I don't know if anyone gets that reference, but us right here. A few
couple
people in the
our live studio audience.
live studio audience.
Yeah. Couple 30-plus-year-olds. Yeah.
That's all right. But this simulcast, it'll be an hour long, or if we go a little over, that's fine. But we're going to start out, we're going to do some introductions. Two members you may remember from their time that they were on last on the Fan Show. And then, of course, we're going to pause for a QA in between segments, because I'm going to do the talking and the question asking, and then we're going to flip this thing over and let them interview me for a little bit, which doesn't happen a whole lot, but I prepared myself. I brought lube. I'm ready.
Excellent.
It's gonna.
All right, that
it
makes
could get
four of
bumpy.
It's gonna be one of those nights. Yeah.
We need to switch places.
Some Mike and Caitlin sandwich tonight.
Wow. So we got 3 out of 5 of you, which 2 out of 3 ain't bad, but 3 out of 5, it's pretty good. Still got passing grade there. And you guys are kind of the personalities behind the band. We have the singer, the guitar player, and of course the drummer, who I don't know who really wants to ever talk to them. But
lots of people, actually.
Well, that's good.
Other drummers.
Other drummers want to talk to
One
the drummer.
time the bass player
Drummer
doesn't
lives
make
matter.
it.
They do. Without drums, we'd be nothing. It's true.
You'd be an acoustic band.
Yeah, but the drums are the most acoustic thing in the band. So
I know.
It's an interesting dichotomy.
A what? Is there a $15 word?
It's too many syllables for you, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know.
It's 4
I'll
syllables.
lose after 3.
So there's a few ways that you guys listening or watching can enjoy this. Obviously, if you're listening, thank you. You can go to Spreaker.com/user/thefanshow, and there is a chat feature. You can log in there, and you guys can chat along, ask us your questions. Facebook Live right now on Elephant Gun Riot's Facebook page, which you should all have liked by now. And then Periscope on my Twitter @FanShowOfficial. So we've got you covered for both audio and finally video.
Bringing
Thanks
the beautiful
to
faces.
Oh man, I got perfect face for this. Not.
For you.
Just handsome.
Face for radio.
So we're going to go down the line here. We're going to introduce you guys, and you can say something special, unique about yourself, or even tell a secret if you want. We'll go first right here to my
Can
to
I
my
go
left.
Zach, you want to go first?
Why do I have to go first? Okay, I'll go first.
Go this way.
I'm Zach. I play guitar. And a secret of mine is... I don't know if this is really a secret, but I can eat an entire large pizza no problem, like in 15 minutes.
You can.
Mike's like, I've seen him do
It's
it.
not really a secret, but it's
Definitely not a secret.
That's more of a fact. I can eat a lot.
How many wings have you put down before?
Oh, so...
That might be more interesting.
Brian and
than
I have
pizza.
done wing challenges before. I know I can do at least 24.
Like hot wings, like they do
Yeah.
at Flamin' Joe's, where
Yeah.
they set off the siren. And...
Well, we're going to get into talking about wings. We can do that later. But I can do a lot of wings. The Triple X burger at Fat Burger's no problem. And then at Churchill's right now, they have a steak for 2. That's 27 ounces. It's supposed to be for 2 people. And I ate that by myself.
Wow.
It ruined my entire weekend.
What about crab wontons at the Emerald Sand?
Yeah.
Crab wontons?
The cream cheese crab wontons at Emerald? Yeah, I think I got to like 20, low 20s.
There was crab in
It was
those?
imitation crab.
Good enough.
Oh my gosh!
It was all you can eat. And at the end of the night before we're playing, they're like just kind of putting it out. And I was like, oh, whoever wants any? I'm like, okay, challenge accepted. So
Hey,
I-
details.
I'm
you
a
know,
little
they are what
concerned
they are.
that I didn't realize they were crab.
maybe they're not crab. Maybe it was cream cheese.
I think they were just cream
They
cheese.
might have just been cream cheese.
I mean,
Crab
I
would've
know
been
my cream
expensive.
cheese. I think they were just cream cheese.
They might have been.
They were not tainted with any
Hey.
crabs.
So, yeah.
Crab wontons are delicious.
So my secret is I overeat all of the time.
Is that like okay? Mike says it's no secret. You're
I don't know
up.
if I can top that.
You're up, little drummer boy. Let's hear
Okay,
it.
my name's Mike. I play drums, and
This is why I wanted to go last.
I don't have a good one. I don't know.
He
I'm
loves to play
sorry.
video games.
That's okay. Fair enough. I guess that is could be a little known fact. I'm a huge video game nerd.
Yeah, he's kind of my go-to because when I play
Yeah.
games, I'll kind of text him my own little internal commentary
Yeah.
on what's happening in the game. Like, specifically the last Star Wars Battlefront 2 game I was playing,
Yep.
where I was pissed that it ended on a cliffhanger.
Wow.
So that was
Spoiler.
pretty fun.
Yeah.
Well, they released the, what is it, DLC? Is that what they call those things?
Yeah.
They released a DLC for it, so I don't know. But I rented the game. I can't finish it yet.
You could rent
so.
it again. What, it's like
Then I gotta-
$2?
What? Then I gotta wait like 10 hours for it to re-update.
I don't know.
This is
That's-
2018.
I mean-
Who rents stuff? I mean, that's why
I do.
Blockbusters aren't around anymore.
I rent so many games at Redbox. Why spend $60 on it when you can try it out for like $3?
Because you're probably getting a scratched up game that's not going
No,
to
not that
download for you fast enough. You can't just stick it in and go like anymore
That's
with
true.
video
You
games.
can't. You can't do that anymore.
To my disappointment, I don't rent
10
games
minutes in.
ever, but I decided to rent Battlefront 2 because it was just getting like kind of bad rap, you know. So I rented it and I did. I think it took me like 6 hours before I could actually start playing it.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess it's my turn. I
Yeah.
kind of took over yours. I guess I wanted
Well,
to
not
talk.
really. That's still my secret. You can't have that one.
Yeah. Get your own secret.
Get your own
own.
secret.
She wanted you guys to go first so that then she can be like, okay, so I don't have to be great. I just
And then
have
she
to
could
be
just
better
talk down
than
to
them.
us while we gave our secrets
Pretty
out.
much. That's the
Hey,
general
I
feeling
said
got.
you're my go-to. That counts for something.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
For game. Don't take that away from me, right? I need someone to bitch about when a game pisses me off.
I'm here for that. I'm here for sci-fi and gaming bitching.
Or when I'm like rooting for the two like characters to
Mm-hmm.
finally kiss before they die.
Is that Mike Tyson?
Yeah, you ever seen that meme?
Oh, probably.
Oh my god.
Okay, well
Shout out to Mike Tyson.
I think we think we're really funny.
What's your secret?
but I don't think we're that funny.
Yeah, over here.
I'm Caitlin. I'm the singer. My secret. Oh, see, I should have been using this time to think of a good secret, and I don't have a good secret.
What
but
do you want to share?
I actually do love to travel, and I am currently trying to plan my next locale somewhere in Europe because I have to go to Scotland for a wedding. So,
Backpacking?
well, I won't have that much time.
Oh.
I gotta work, man. I gotta pay the bills. But
Make that money.
I'm debating on locations now. So if anybody has any suggestions out there, I'll take them.
Fair enough. All right. And then I'm Richard. I'm the host of the show right now until we flip it at about bottom of the hour. And my secret is that I have never watched any of the Godfather movies.
What?
Yeah.
That makes kind of two of us. I've seen like bits and pieces of them.
I've only seen bits and pieces of them too.
Maybe I've seen them front to back. I just don't remember.
My whole thing is that there's movies out there that I haven't seen because I grew up in the era where there were spoof movies about them, so they kind of gave away like all the important parts. Where it was like, what was the point? I already know all the good parts.
All the punchlines.
If it makes you feel better, I only just now saw The Big Lebowski.
Wow, I saw that a few
I
years
just
ago.
saw it like a week ago. So, first time ever.
Yeah, I saw Fight Club for the first time like 10 years ago, which I was disappointed in myself. It had taken so long to see, but yeah.
Fight Club's good. Yeah, shout out to the poster back there.
Yeah, that's what
I was gonna
reminded
say,
me.
didn't it come out 10 years ago? But maybe it's
No,
closer
it's
to 20
not.
years.
Yeah.
We're getting old.
No.
We are old.
Yeah,
90, 99?
Fact check.
97.
let's keep it at that though. I saw it 10 years
96.
ago, and that's when it came
98.
out. You know, it
That
makes me
can't.
feel
I
better about
mean,
myself.
that can't
90s,
be
right?
right.
It has to be late 90s.
I read Fight Club in high
99.
school, though.
99. Suck it.
Seriously?
Wow.
All right.
Right, the
There's
first guess.
that slap of reality
Wow.
for you. So, a question that
Same
I
as Mike
asked
Tyson.
Mike and Caitlin last time that they were on, and they referred to Zach, is the origins behind Elephant Gun Riot, because I remember the days of Manifest and Eliza Rose. You went from the one word name to the kind of girly sounding but yet still badass name, and now we have Elephant Gun Riot, which you could have Elephant Riot, you could have a gun riot, and you could have an elephant gun, but this is all three put together.
Yeah, people have asked me, which is it? Is it a bunch of elephants with guns having a riot? Is it a bunch of people with elephant guns having a riot? And I don't know how to answer
In
it.
actuality, it's nothing. It's just,
Yeah,
this is a band name.
3 words that I just came up with.
Yeah.
Just came up with.
Wow.
Yeah.
I figure elephant because big sound. Gun because so Mike has a bunch of snares.
Yeah.
And so he's always getting new ones. And I remember one of them at the time probably, it just reminded me of a shotgun, pop, pop, pop. So gun. And then riot because when we play, we want to see the crowd go crazy.
Oh, wow.
So, I don't know. So yeah, those are the 3 words.
I think you like my snare drums better than I do.
Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, so that's just, and there's some other things I named around the same time where I picked 3 things, like a color, a shape, and whatever it was, like Black Post Media. Just, I don't know, it seems like 3 words in different categories, you end up with something kind of random. It's almost like one of those Facebook memes you'll see, like, pick your birthday and it's your metal name, or something like that. It's like Gypsy Lover Child.
First
Like, okay, that's a
initial,
cool name, I
first
guess.
name.
Yeah.
I really wish that was how this whole thing came about. Like, you saw a meme and you had to do that. That would have been great.
I saw that and I was like, wait.
Caitlin took some of Mike's water and now there's lipstick on it.
I just tried to remember if I put lipstick on or not.
It's a wonderful
If so, I'd have some
color.
on my cheek.
A rose gold.
Isn't that the color of the new iPhone?
Wow.
I don't know. I don't have
They
that.
make a lipstick with that.
I was interested in
Probably.
the black.
It's probably like $50.
Now, I know that you two are part of the original members because going all the way back to high school, it was you two and Pat, and that was Manifest, and then it was Eliza Rose, like we said. So how long has Elephant Gun Riot officially been a band with the current members and the name? And
With the current members?
October 17th, 2014.
13.
2013.
13.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
2013.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Isn't it?
2013.
Oh,
Guaranteed.
man.
It's over 4 years now.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought we had another year.
No, it's
been
over
like
4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's not bad, though. You guys are,
I'll take it.
out of the honeymoon phase and into the, are we going to make this a thing? Are you going
Yeah.
to put a ring on it phase?
Yeah, we pretty much did. Yeah.
Felt like that.
All right.
Yeah.
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 But, it's easy.
So how have you two kept each other around so long?
Us two?
Yeah.
Appropriate. In all honesty, it's easy. I've been lucky enough to be able to play with some just really good drummers in Spokane. I've never been a part of a project with a drummer that's no good. So I'm really lucky with that. But then Mike and I, we grew up, as you know, together from 7th grade till now.
Yep.
So it's like you combine he's a really good drummer and we get along really well and we're really good friends. So instead of, people doing a project like, we have to have all new members. It's like, no, we're just going to keep the people that we like and that are good and just add to that. So it's just kind of always the way it's been, especially with Pat. It's like the 3 of us were like, I don't want to find another bass player because you're plenty good enough. Let's not find other members because we're all plenty good enough. We all get along really well. So it kind of just...
And
That's
if
why I
you
look
get in
at it.
trouble, you can be our lawyer because you went.
Oh, yeah, pretty much. That's why we keep Pat around. He's a lawyer.
It's an added bonus.
Yeah. So it's just easy that way. We write the same music. Together we've probably written over 100 songs, like either demos or tracks or just him and I riffing stuff out in his parents' basement. That was at least 2 minutes long. I pulled up on a hard drive the other day and I found a ton of old tracks. I'm like, oh my god! And I'm like, there's actually a riff on the new EP that is from maybe 10 years ago.
We've really been writing the same stuff for 10 years.
I heard the chorus. I'm like, I'm gonna totally jack myself and put it on the brand new music, and it's one of my bass favorite parts. So I'm like, score.
Because you guys obviously have a chemistry being together for so long and being, guitar and drums. It sort of makes everything kind of easier in that regard.
Yeah, I keep answering, but
If you got an answer, spit it out.
no, it's great because from a songwriter standpoint, when I write something on guitar, I know probably 85% of what he's gonna do, and I'll write something around that. And there's times where I'll change. So I'll go, okay, now if I do that, he'll probably say, so kind of having the connected brains like that when it comes to songwriting makes it so easy sometimes. And then when he does something totally different than I expect, I'm like, oh, that's cool too. Yeah, sweet, that's awesome. Let's do that. So rarely, he's never done anything I'm like, oh, that's dumb.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. It's always just super tight and solid and great.
So
man.
you
Yeah,
two,
you're
Pat
good
makes
for
sense because he's been around the whole time. But then your brother in the mix,
Yeah.
which I didn't like. I think I heard rumors that you had a brother, but I had
Yeah,
never
he
seen.
exists.
There's
you
a
know?
secret. I have 3.
Yeah.
No, wait, 4.
Wait, who's the fourth brother? I don't
You
think
have
I
two
even know who
brothers.
this
There's
brother
3 children
is.
total.
You
No,
have a fourth
I
brother?
have 4 brothers.
They're like
Oh,
Gronkowski.
That's a
He
secret.
does. He does
I
have
do.
4
That's a
brothers.
secret.
Yeah.
Talk about it later.
The one upstairs,
Which is Sean.
the other one that I know.
Yeah,
the other
2 other
one?
ones. Yeah, Jason and Glenn.
Oh wait, I think I've heard of Glenn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are
I
like.
hope they're
my
not
introduction.
watching. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Zach talks
Well,
about you
no.
all the time. It's just me.
Until now.
I
But yeah, that's,
They're like Baldwins or
Yeah.
Gronkowskis, or
Pretty much.
some foursome of brothers.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but my brother upstairs, yeah, he got me playing guitar in 7th grade, and we actually had a chance to play in a band, like probably 9 years ago now. For just a brief time, I filled in on bass for him.
That wasn't that long ago. It was like 6 years ago.
Oh,
6 or
I don't
7
know.
years ago.
It seemed like forever.
What's that flyer on the wall say?
Those flyers there with dates.
April 2012?
Probably 2012, yeah.
Yeah, so that's 6 years ago.
So, but yeah, so then when we were trying to, because we off and on had 2 guitar players from time to time, and once we had our previous singer in EGR, we're like, let's stick with the 2 guitar sound because it's nice and we can really
Because he
add
played
layers.
guitar and sang.
Yeah. So we would just
Filling in the gaps here.
yeah. So yeah, basically we're like, well, who's someone who will play, and we know we can just have him play anything we need. Who doesn't have like a ceiling for what we write, and like, hey brother, you want to like play with us? Like, sure, like sweet, done deal. So, and everybody's known him forever, so literally it's family stuff.
I was gonna say, because having family members in bands can be like either a great gift or it can be like the dagger for a band, because it's like, well, why do you always get to play lead? Because I'm older, or like because I'm better. Like,
and there's him and I get along great, so it's
That's
not
good.
really a problem. And there's time we trade off on stuff, and like when we do like a cover that we're doing this Friday, he has all the lead parts, and there's other parts where I do lead. But I don't really do much lead playing. I have like maybe 1 solo in the entire, maybe 2 depending on our covers, the entire set. Sometimes there's like second guitar is how I look at it. I'm just like doing octave splits running up the neck, but nothing like, hey everybody, look at me, so.
and Caitlin over here, she is sort of the vocal gift, because you guys had singer and singers at one point. Andy, Jeremy, I remember fun times.
Way back.
Good old
there was a
days.
Jeremy in there.
Yeah.
2 Jeremys.
There was.
I don't know, the second one slipped in.
I
When they
actually
were-
met
That was a
Andy
mistake.
because I sang with them. When
Yeah, you were
with
telling me
FanFest,
that,
but
yeah.
I don't think I was a part of the Jeremy days.
No.
I don't
That was in
know.
our heavy phase.
Remember
Well,
any
when I was
Jeremys?
prepping for today, I actually remember the time that you guys played at that. I don't even know what it was called up on Market, and you guys got your
New
mics
Groove
turned
Or the
off.
Molotov cock.
I
No,
think
that was the new groove.
Got the mics turned off because Jeremy and Andy swore like
Yeah.
the first 30 seconds.
There was a very distinct
line.
line that they said that got the mics cut. I won't repeat it, but there was a very distinct line. I remember them saying, I'm like, oh boy. Next thing we know, there's no mics. I'm like, oh,
Podcast is marked explicit, so you
Yeah,
say
we
it.
can curse.
Yeah, it's true.
None of us will do it.
Secret number 3.
But now, then you guys had the female vocalist, and now you have another one in Caitlin. She's done very well, and I think that it's something that has separated you guys from the rest of the pack in Spokane, because, I mean, it takes a certain level of commitment, 1, to be in a band, but 2, to, like, see it through, and you guys obviously have kind of worked out whatever petty kinks that a band might come across, and clearly have, like, kind of a business model type band going, and she is the lovely face of it, and she's on cloud 9 because her Vikings won in fantastic fashion.
That was amazing.
I had to throw
Oh.
her in there.
I was screaming too.
I screamed so much.
Yeah.
That was insane.
Yeah.
I mean,
didn't watch it.
I started eating a bowl of ice cream in just utter like disappointment because
You're like, I
I'm
gotta
like,
crack this
it's
open.
all over.
It's done.
Nothing like that. No Hail Marys. Nothing like that ever happens to the Vikings ever. Like my dad always said, if you're a Vikings fan, you learn to live with disappointment. And so I already had like the bowl of ice cream going.
In
And
case
then-
of emergency.
And then, like,
You
I'm
just ate the whole
watching, yeah,
thing
in case of
anyway, right?
emergency. Oh, yeah, I did.
In glory.
But I
I'm
will
so
say,
happy.
I was kind of like watching with my my hands over my face, like just like peering through. And then he catches that ball and goes in, and like that ice cream was almost on the roof. Like it was just.
Well, so when they kicked the first field goal, I was like, oh my god, he made it. but there's so much time left for Drew Brees, and then he marches down, and now it's up to their kicker, and I'm like, what if history like flips the script now and he misses, but then he made it, and I was like, man, they can't catch a break. Like, their kicker made it. He did something that Vikings kickers don't do, and then he throws that, and I was like, that's kind of poetic that it didn't come down to a kicker in a win like
Insane.
that.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah, that was. I watched it from beginning to end. It was fantastic, and I watched it at the Viking bar in Spokane. And so, and the best part was everybody who was there watching was there for the game. So you had a ton of Saints fans and a ton of Vikings fans. And I don't really care about either team, but my friends that were there were Vikings fans. So like I'm cheering from deep outside because my good friend Rachel, when she's a diehard fan, and we're sitting there watching it. And once the Saints went up for the last time, she just was so sad and like borderline crying. I'm like, oh, I feel really bad. Like, I really hope the Vikings win now. And they kind of start marching downfield. I'm like, wait, there's a chance. She's just out of it. She's like, no, this sucks.
Stuff like that never happens to us.
Yeah.
I
And
say
then
us.
sure enough, she doesn't remember standing. She doesn't remember screaming.
She just blacked
She blacked out for like 30 seconds.
God.
I got a
in
high
pure
five and she
bliss.
crushed my hand. I'm like, I'm on injury reserve now.
That's why I was telling you that if I would have been there, we probably would have been like sobbing, hugging each other the whole time.
I feel like for a lot of Vikings fans, they're going to be the fans that say, happiest moment of my life. And they're like, don't you have like a son and a daughter? Yeah, happiest moment of my life.
Oh, I love my kids too.
I don't know if I'd say happiest moment, but I will say I was very happy when it happened.
Yeah.
And I'll probably remember exactly where I was when that happened
Yeah.
for a while, because that was insane.
So you guys have the show coming up with Hell's Bells, which is one of my favorite. It's kind of an annual show by now.
Our third year.
Yeah.
it's turning
And it's been great because they're awesome at what they do. I mean, when it comes to tribute bands, which I'm surprised you guys didn't get into the tribute band business. I really am, because you've got the skill set where you could pretty much pick a band and be like, we're going to tribute this band this year and come up with some awesome name for it.
We love playing covers, and I don't think we could ever be a tribute band because we'd want to play too many different songs from too many different bands.
Yeah.
Like, we have, no joke, it's like a 2-hour list right now of cover songs we want to get under our belts eventually. And it's just so much fun.
What's the best kind of cover to do? Is it one that's already a rock song that you make it your own rock song, or like a pop song that you put the heaviness to?
That we've done live, or that we've done...
In general.
Because
Just in
I
general.
really liked what we did with the Chainsmokers cover, but that's not one we've ever done live. That was just kind of something we posted out on our YouTube. But for live, I don't know. I'm actually discovering that I have a really good male 80s rock voice. And
Zach's just
and
like, it's totally true.
Kickstart My Heart.
Journey.
Well, yeah, Journey, and then I loved our Led Zeppelin cover that we do. Like,
Well, that's because all those singers
Yeah.
sounded like
That's not
girls to
80s
begin with.
anymore.
Yeah.
Axl Rose,
Hired,
Pirate Michaels.
Hired,
Let's
yeah.
be real, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. The Kickstart My Heart is that's one I've always wanted to do. It's always in the back of my head. I remember when the Kia commercials came out, I'm like, that'd be a fun song to play live. Because when I lay in bed, I imagine playing songs and what it'd be like playing in front of 1,000 people, 10,000 people. And that's a song that every time I hear, I'm like, oh my god, that song would be so cool to play live. And then we kind of do like a rotation. We kind of pick songs together. And it was my brother's turn, and he's like, let's do Kickstart My Heart. And I was just like, yes, finally, yes.
So
It
you
was
would
like
be
the best.
You'd be ecstatic then if you went to Universal Orlando, because they have their roller coaster, the Rip Ride Rocket,
Best
and it
roller
has
coaster ever.
giant
I
speakers
picked that song
in your head.
when I rode.
I did
We
too.
both did too.
Yep.
Oh my god.
And it
Best
gets
part
you
of my honeymoon.
so pumped.
Our
Yeah.
honeymoon.
Yep. It gets
Yes!
you so pumped to ride a giant roller
And
coaster
you're like
as
pulled up
Kickstart
straight
My Heart's
vertical.
going.
it's,
Yeah.
you pick a song before you go
love
on
that
the
roller
spread.
Yeah,
Yeah.
each coaster seat has like speakers in the headrest.
Yep.
And there's like a little LCD screen. There's like 5 songs, but Kickstart My Heart's one of them. I was like, whoop!
Yep.
Oh my god! It was so and
Yeah,
then
as you're going up,
It's going,
and then it, like it times it perfectly,
revving
and
is
then
like
it
when
drops you,
hoisting
and it's
you
like,
up. Oh my god!
Oh, that'd be fun.
When we
Do
go on
that.
tour, we ever go to Florida,
Yeah.
we're doing
Do
a
it.
roller
I'm down.
coaster.
you need to do it.
No
Film it.
convincing.
Buy
Yeah,
DVD.
go live
Yeah.
Oh.
or on the roller coaster.
GoPro it.
There would be a ton of stuff in the Orlando
my
area
God.
that I would be doing.
Yeah.
It's Harry
So much
Potter's
good
world down
content.
there.
Yeah,
Potter World's
Harry Potter
awesome.
World. Well,
Yeah.
but I definitely want to go back to Kennedy Space Center. I've never been to Walt Disney World. Epcot. Okay, I mean, guys, we're going to have to spend like a month-long tour in Florida just
Yeah.
to see all the stuff.
We're always going on vacation together. Which we've already done once.
The band that vacations together stays together. I mean, that's
No. kidding.
Depends where you vacation.
So Caitlin told me her side of the story as far as how she joined the band. She said it was mainly you saying, "Hey, why don't you join our band?" So what was going through your mind? Like, why Caitlin, and how close was it to not being anymore if you guys didn't lock down a singer?
Well, honestly, in my head, there's always like, well, maybe this is the end. Like, we're 24, 25, whatever. And I always know, though, it won't be the end.
You know that now? Like,
Yeah.
we're 30.
Yeah. But it's mostly, even if, like, we wouldn't have found someone like her, we would have kept playing or doing something. Like, it's just what we do. When we first started EGR up again, the whole thing was, let's just have fun. Like, maybe play a show every once in a while. Like, keep it super chill, because Mike was in Seattle at the time. And then turned to this. So it's like, it's just in our DNA. But with her, we had auditioned a handful of singers, and I mean, as you know, Mike, Pat, and I are very, like, I'll say, like, over-the-top businessy, but we expect someone to show up prepared. Whatever it is, just, we ask you to do something, let us know when you're ready. When you have these 3 songs down, let us know. We'll get together and jam. And everybody showed up not prepared, or they had, like, half a song down, or, like, well, I have an original to work on. We're like, well,
Let's
okay.
just jam, man.
Yeah, it's kind of like a weird, when we give them, like, material that's really kind of easy to get under your belt. It's easy, it's, digestible, learn it. So she's the only one, we asked her to learn 3 songs, and she showed up knowing the entire, like, first undercover EP we ever did, and then she killed them all. So it was like she went above and beyond what we even asked, and then did a good job, was on time, and so it was like, almost like a job interview, and she killed it. And one thing I get frustrated about is everybody's like, oh, you picked a female singer because she's female. No, she actually was the only professional person that ever showed up.
And she rewrote one of the songs on her own.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like, I get frustrated and be like, oh, this is why. I'm like, no, if you were there, you'd understand. Like, not that the other one sucked, but it was, she was prepared. So that usually was just like, and she's good. So it's like, okay, check. And we know we're getting along with her. Okay, check. So just, she checked all the boxes, and it was...
Yeah, because that's got to be one
Easy
of the
decision.
toughest things about being in a band that, if you need to replace a member, it's like you obviously have your criteria of what you want this person to meet, but then you put out a message or a posting, you get 10 people that respond, of those, like 5 that show up, and of those, like maybe 2 or 3 that actually meet your criteria. I mean, and at that point, it's kind of process of elimination makes your choice a lot easier, but it might not be ideally what you wanted. But I think you guys obviously lucked out here with Caitlin, because it's working well for you.
Yeah. And that's... going back in history a little bit, and that's Jamie was our previous female singer we had a long, long time ago. It was the same thing with her, where I'd work with people and this and that, and they were all, like, good. But she, was the first one who showed up prepared. It's one of those things where it's like, let's just show up, be decent, but be prepared. And so it's just like, that's just the way it's worked out. So out of our last 3 singers, 2 have been females, and they've been phenomenal. So it's great. And Caitlin's easy to get along with most of the time. So...
If her Vikings win and she's not there,
Exactly.
a pint of Chubby Hubby ice cream.
Yeah.
So.
Well, as long as you guys aren't eating tuna in the car,
That's Pat.
farting
That's not us.
in the
That's
car.
all of us.
Oh my! Speaking of farting, Zach,
Here we go.
Zach let one off at band practice the other day, and I didn't know what was happening at
God.
first because when we're at practice, Zach, Mike, or not
That was-
Mike,
that
Zach,
was-
Pat,
I gotta follow up to that.
and Sean all are like 3 in a row, kind of next to each other during practice, and like. Normally that I'm like in the middle, and then Mike's the drum on the other side of the room, and he's just over there somewhere. And I didn't know what was happening because I didn't smell anything yet. But like Patrick kind of came up in front of me, and I'm like, oh well, it's kind of a bass-driven song. Like he's probably just up here to like sync up with Mike or something.
That's what I thought too. I was
Super
like,
strange.
they're coming to hang out with
bring
me.
people
And then
together.
like
They
Sean.
never hang out with me, and they're coming to hang out with me. And then like 30 seconds later.
And then Sean kind of like sneaks by, but he did it in a weird way. And I'm like, okay, what's going on now? Because he kind of like tried to get away, for like sneaking in front of Pat in a certain way. And I'm like, what are they doing? And then we knew it was
Doomsday.
bad.
That was after the 27-ounce steak from Churchill's. It was that following week.
Just bring it all
No.
out.
I was hurting for like a week. It was so good in my mouth, but like, I'm not kidding. And I remember that, and I'm sorry. It was... I had to sit in it because I'm like, I deserve this.
For
Well,
someone
I
that
couldn't
has
move.
to breathe
Yeah.
and sing the whole time, I put
blame
it.
I also blame it on Sean. He came over here and stirred it up. He came over and walked around and shot it that way. So
Anyway.
Which is a great segue, because
Yeah.
I was actually going to ask Caitlin what it's like being the one girl in an all-guy band. I assume it comes with different levels of frustration with different ages. So I guess right now you've kind of dealt with it long enough that you know.
Well, we definitely all have our quirks, but for the most part, it's fine. There's some incidents of farts and tuna and jerky that stinks up the car. Like, and eggs. Patrick's always bringing hard-boiled eggs.
So smells with you is like
smells and snoring. That's why
I'll sleep in the car.
There have been a couple overnight trips where we all kind of have to like share a room or something, and I go a little crazy. I'm like, guys, you're gonna drive me nuts. Like,
yeah, I'll sleep in the car for snoring. Like, depending on what the sleeping situation is that time on the road, I'll sleep in the car. Like, even though I wake up and my knees are killing me because I can't spread my legs out. But I can't do snoring.
I'm just a very light sleeper and a very picky sleeper, and if I don't get sleep, like I can have my moments.
You need that
too.
Front
Like I
woman
can have my
beauty
moments.
Sleep. Front woman beauty sleep right there. That's a special kind of beauty sleep too.
Yeah. Well, she sleeps like the entire trip.
I do.
Because we'll get on.
I'm the
we'll get
worst
on the road.
road tripper. I am the worst road tripper. Like I don't know what it is. I call it the sleep. Just literally the sleep.
Such a clever name.
I bet there's what else.
What do you call it when you go to
it?
sleep on the road? I'm gonna call it the sleep.
But I mean, it's the sleep. There's nothing else to call it. Anytime I get in a car, and I'm obviously not driving, I'm totally fine if I'm driving, I will stay awake. I've driven us home all night before.
From
Portland. That's a full night.
I slept that entire time. It's awesome.
But
I was like, home.
I don't know what it is. I usually sit like in the third row, and I'm out. I put earplugs in and cover my face, and I'm using the whole time.
I was going to say, you should put her in the passenger seat and find one of those tow trucks that's towing the car facing backwards.
And scream and yell.
Yep, scream and yell, hit the horn.
I thought about doing that before.
That's such a good idea.
The sleep would end right there.
I don't know.
Kill us.
But I'm a very light sleeper, so I don't think you guys would get away with that at all. I don't think you get away with
That's good.
Yeah, I just feel that if we were to do that, someone would have a heart attack. Just knowing our luck. I've thought about it while driving because, like, my brother and I are the two ones that usually drive when we start heading out of town, so we're going to chit-chat and drive. And I've thought about when half of them are asleep, it's like, I want to yell and scream or scare them or something. But I'm like, no, because I would hate if someone did that to me.
But we did have a scare with my previous vehicle that we used for shows. Sean hit a raccoon.
The whole family.
And
our roadkill count's pretty good.
And
actually.
and I think it was Sean and Patrick in the car, and then I was in the back sleeping, and of course, and I know that they made like a loud like noise, and I kind of like sat up calmly, and I'm like, what happened? So honestly, I don't know if I'd be like, bleh, if you guys tried to scare me. I think I'd be like,
what's going
what's
on?
up?
Is this real life?
Hey, what's up?
What's up? I was just in the sleep. I don't know what's going on.
So we're going to open up the Q&A now.
Oh
You've got the Facebook Live going right there. I've got the Periscope. And I'll lead off. We have a few sample questions up here, like favorite moments being in the band. And I feel like, the whole tuna and farting and jerky kind of summed up a lot of them.
Best part.
But,
So that brings up
we'll do best moment. But first I want to hear the worst thing about being in band, because I feel like this is kind of a really loaded question, because it's going to be different for every member in the band, it's going to be different for every band, and it's going to be different for every level that you are as a band. Because I know for me, my least favorite thing about being in the band was loading in equipment, especially for a venue that was not on the same level as the road, like upstairs, downstairs, anything with stairs. I hated, but bands that have their own roadies, they don't have to worry about that. So they probably hate, like their least favorite part is, all these groupies to choose from. What do I do? So
Poor things.
It's different for everybody. So we'll start out with least favorite thing, and then we can go with favorite moments so far. And we'll start with Caitlin. That way you can't hear the bad answers from them. You have to come up with your own first.
The worst parts. I kind of have two.
Okay.
One.
It's gonna get really real.
we're getting real right now.
The band ends tonight.
It's all over. No, I mean, one of them is just like, because you're in a group with 4 other people, you're responsible to show up and do what you need to do with those other people. And there are days when you're doing a show and you're sick and you don't want to do it. You want to be in bed. And sometimes, even with practice, like, you're here. I know Mike's played a show with the flu. I had pneumonia last year and played a show 2 days after my fever broke with pneumonia, like still with the lungs. And So I mean, that part for me, that's one of the worst parts. It's just
That makes
you
sense
have a
as a
commitment and you
vocalist.
still need to follow through, but some days you're just not at your
Because
top,
your
so.
voice is your instrument, and there can be
Yeah.
a number of things that mess with that.
Well, but even just energy-wise, when you have the
Yeah.
flu, like I know Mike was gonna die at one show last
I was
year.
passed out.
Yeah.
Can't breathe.
Well, luckily for me though, with those, there was one show we did where I had no voice and it took everything to project. And I remember turning around and looking at Mike and I'm like, oh my god. And then you just go back and turn around and keep going.
Always smile.
And then the second one that kind of bothers me sometimes, and it's only going to pertain to me because being a woman in the band, is I've shown it at a venue before to load in, do the stuff with band, and they're like, "Oh, girlfriends aren't allowed back here," and I'm like, "Excuse me."
She's got gear in her hands.
Like, and they just automatically assume that because I'm a woman, I'm not in the band, and I'm not going to get into the
Oh,
whole
wow.
the whole.
We'll talk about that for a while.
I'm not going to get into that, but that's one of the other things that, and it's happened at a couple venues before, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Are you kidding? Okay, well. All right. So for me, it's just kind of those frustrations, but it's also, I got to teach them, like, hey, listen, mister,
Sir,
I actually am in this
Excuse me,
band.
sir.
I really hope you go.
I
on
can
long,
rock and
long.
roll.
I need a wristband, sir.
Wow.
Can I see your manager, sir?
All right, Mike. Worst thing about being in a band at this point in your life? You still have to load in your own.
like
equipment.
worst single instance or just like worst?
Like, it doesn't matter what show, what lineup. Like, it's the thing that you're dreading the most, going either to a local show or on the road. Like, it's the one thing you have to do every time and you hate it.
I mean, as far as like the stuff that has to happen on any given day, I don't really hate any of it. I mean, as far as like gear goes, I've got such a good system down, and I take such little gear out,
Yeah, that's
like as
true.
little as possible. I mean, it takes me like 10 minutes. I mean, I guess like any other working drummer, you hate crappy load-in situations, but it's, I don't know. I get anxiety about things going wrong, like not about any one of us not being able to perform or forgetting our parts or whatever, because that's never an issue, but like, just like someone's amp breaking or like, just something horrible going wrong at the venue that's like out of our control.
Sound guy fell
It's stupid
asleep
to worry
and-
about. It's like I can't control it, but it's, I don't know. Just stuff like that. I'm just a worry wart.
We've all had dreams though, where performance dreams.
Performance
Oh, wow.
Like I remember there was one where we were playing in my dream. We were at the knit and like they just wouldn't show up, and I'm out there like trying to keep the show going.
Sounds
And
about
I'm like,
right.
what's happening?
Dancing.
But and I know you've had those dreams.
Oh, yeah,
before,
absolutely.
And, yeah.
Yeah, it's oh my god. And then like how you were saying, like one time you turned around and looked at me when you were having a bad night. I don't have anyone to turn around and look at when I'm having a bad night. So like I'm the security blanket for the four of you. Like whenever
When Mike has a bad night, we all hear it.
yeah,
Where'd the snare go on that?
kicking stuff.
Sometimes I'll forget a line and I just turn around to Mike and I'm like, well, that happened.
I used to yell at the guys in my band if I was having a bad night. I'd be like, Andrew, make eye contact with me.
I need love.
Look at me.
Or like Patrick has like when he has this smile that's only for me on stage when he screws up, and he'll like turn around and look at me, and it's like I know. Just the look he gives me, I'm like, oh yeah, I know that look. But I don't have a security blanket. Like I am the security blanket.
Zach, worst thing?
Oh man.
You're a perfectionist too. This should be good. I'm just gonna sit back here.
For me, the worst thing. Well, there's a million worse things.
God.
But I'd say the thing that stresses me out the most is local shows. When you have a lot of friends that are there and a lot of family, and you're trying to balance the business side of things while also not coming across as like an a-hole.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to like entertain, say hi, thanks for coming. Oh, you want to buy a shirt? Let me go over here. Oh, I want to introduce this person. The juggling of all of that sometimes, and also making sure you're packing up your gear and getting out of the way, and sometimes just the balance depending on the show will like stress me out. But I don't say stress out because it's just a lot more to deal with. Where like this Friday coming up, there's people I want to go say hi to and entertain, but I got to get down to the merch booth and sell stuff, and that whole balance is usually my least favorite part. That's probably it. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say, being in a band, I remember after your set was probably like one of the most hectic times.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
teardown might be easier, but you've got like hugs to give out, handshakes, highs and buys, people that could only make it for that one, 30 minutes of time, and got to go to the merch booth and get your stuff out. Next band's got to come on. Yeah.
Especially if you play those hometown shows like at the Knit or something. I'll have my phone off during the set, and I'll get backstage, take myself off, turn my phone on, and just zzz, 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 zzz. I'm like, jeez, like Facebook messages coming through. Like, I need to
Turn
buy
it
your
back off.
shot. I need to do it. Like, I was like, okay, oh my gosh, I gotta like figure out how to do this. And usually I'll try to like find a couple people to say thank you, like my close friends like that, and then I'll head off into the sunset and get at the merch table.
She is shaking
We've
her
got a pretty
head
good
so
system.
hard over here.
Yeah, we got a pretty good system.
Oh, only because
show
while
stuff.
they're loading out, I get the first rush. I'm like, guys, where are you?
You and Pat.
Where
Pat
are
was
you
with
guys?
Yeah.
But it's also tricky because you want to get, like, depending on the show, you want to get your stuff out of
Yeah.
the way because you want to let the other bands load up, and it's,
Just has to happen.
yeah. But it's, I don't really mind loading gear as long as everybody's doing their part of it. That's not a problem. I look at it as a workout, like, oh, I didn't work out for the last 5 months. I'll work out tonight, type of thing. So,
All evens out.
yeah. Blow my back out. Watch this. Amp weighs nothing.
That's not funny.
Yeah, oh, sorry, Mike blew his back out.
Yeah, I legit
Wow.
did. That actually made loading gear pretty shitty for a couple months. But
Our first one. Hey, we made that the little
Hey,
bit.
yeah.
First cuss?
I think
Yeah.
it was.
I think it was the first
Yeah.
class.
All right.
All right.
Can of worms is open.
All right.
Remember, now we loosen up. Now it's going to
Start
get
that.
good.
Well,
welcome.
fuck, okay. Zach, best moment memory. If you
Ooh.
can pick one.
Oh, were we supposed to say the best? Did
No,
you
we're
say
coming
the
back
best?
around now.
Down
Oh.
Now you can listen to their less than quality answers and pick out a better one for yourself.
I think the one that stands out to me the most, like the most monumental moment, was well before this band. It was, no offense,
Excuse
but
you.
you'll know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
We're playing at the Great Gatsby's downtown. Mike, myself, Pat.
I've never been to
Great.
that
You
place.
mean Fat Tuesdays?
It was Great Gatsby's. I think we were playing there.
I've never been
It was
there.
both. It switched at one point. Anyway, it was like a rock Final Four, and they're playing like the first song, and I think we had two singers, and like we're not that good, but we're like we're the shit. We're great. This is awesome.
I
And like
had a
we're
drum rack and everything.
yeah,
Oh,
and like the
God.
first song is done. We're like, all right, cool. We're not used to people like really cheering because like one of our first like big shows, and we get done, and it stops, and I have my back to the crowd. I just remember all of a sudden just yelling and screaming and cheering, and I was like, is that for us? Like it was like, I'm like, oh my god, like this is all worth it. Oh, like whoa, I got like goosebumps. I'm like, I've never had that feeling before. Like where this little idea you had for a song with your friends turned into this song, and then it turned to a set, and then turned to a show where there's 100% people watching, and you're in high school, and they all scream and yell, and it's kind of like, wow, that one riff I had turned into this. Like it was like a real special. Like I'm gonna have to do this forever, and I haven't stopped. So
There you go. That's good. Mike?
Honestly, I mean, mine's pretty similar to that.
Yeah.
I mean, a little bit of a variation, but it's like, yeah, performing live, it's the best thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, especially on like a big stage, like at the Knit, there's like subs under the stage, and like you're sound checking, and then you hit the kick drum, and like it just shakes the whole room. And you're like, I'm the king. Like, I own this room. Like I own you. Like I own everybody in here. And
it's all about that kick drum,
dude.
All
Well,
about
yeah,
that
just
kick.
oh, it's the best. It's such a power trip,
Yeah.
and just the adrenaline is just like lightning. Oh god, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Name a show. I mean, they're all the best.
Yeah.
Some of the ones that you don't expect to be the best are the best. We did a show in Winthrop, and we're like, first time there, we're the only band, let's see what happens. By the end of that show, it's like, I wish we had another 2 hours to play, because everybody's having fun. Caitlin's breaking glasses, and,
Oh, that was
Yeah.
crazy.
and like, I mean, it was just one of those things where you kind of going like, let's just see what happens. And you have realistic expectations, like, okay, it's going to be a good show, we're going to put on our best. We don't know what our draw is here, but by the end of the show, it's like, this not stop.
That
But we
show
actually
was
played every single song we know how to
amazing.
play, so it was like, we kind of have to stop.
Yeah. There was nothing left.
Out of material.
Yeah, we had
That show definitely had like the most rock factor, I think, with the property destruction.
Gotta start somewhere with property
The
destruction.
mic
Yeah.
drop into the property destruction.
Yeah. We're so
Oh, it
hardcore.
was
We're gonna be throwing TVs out of hotel rooms any day now.
Yeah, just wait. Caitlin dropped a microphone in a glass of water.
And it broke the glass. It was like
Yeah.
perfect though.
She's like, I'm
we
so
probably-
sorry.
We'd probably
I did
argue
throw
about
it
the
out.
best way to throw a TV out of a hotel room. Honestly,
Yeah,
just criticizing each other.
yeah.
Do it this way.
You're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Wait, let me go live.
But Mike and Zach are both right. I mean, it's the performing's the best part
Yeah.
because, I mean, one show that always stands out for me only because it was my first time was like 4 months after joining the band, and getting invited to do the Hottest Chicks in Hard Rock show at the Knitting Factory. So first time performing at the Knitting Factory for me, anyways. I don't know if you guys had previously
It
been on a
was
show or something.
my second time at the Knitting Factory.
But it was my first time, and it was on a very legit tour with Sick Puppies and Lacuna Coil, and like it was insane, and it was crazy. I remember being so nervous because I grew up going to shows there all the time. I never thought I'd ever play on that stage, and then we do it, and I was like this the whole time, and then I get out there and it was gone, and now I don't ever get nervous anymore anytime we go out there because it's amazing. But it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I always aim to try to have like a perfect show, knowing that like I probably wouldn't. But there was one show, and it wasn't anything extravagant or like a big headliner or anything special. But it was one of those things where it's like you're there. A lot of your friends that said that they were going to show up finally show up, and then there's like a girl in the audience that you like, and you play like the perfect show, and then she ends up being your wife, and it's like, you know, just
A to Z.
Yeah.
boom. That's how you close right there.
Yeah. That's when you gave up the drums.
Wait, he's never given them up.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
There's never been a choice made.
No, which is good.
Yeah.
That's nice. Any questions come through?
Yeah, we actually have two.
Ooh.
The first one is from Eddie, and Eddie says, sorry, being so proper. He is asking, what is your favorite group song that you haven't performed live? And I feel like the only one that qualifies is like Tide, because we don't ever play.
We've played it live.
We played that. Just
Yeah,
like
the Winthrop show. we
We played
everything.
we played a handful of times live.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know. We tend to rotate through a lot of our songs.
I wish we played Wasteland more.
Yeah.
That's fun. That's a fun song.
not a big fan of Wasteland.
I want to hear you guys do a cover of "Use Your Love" tonight, that 80s, because you've got the voice for it, because he's already got a high pitched
Could
voice.
totally do that.
And I've heard like a heavier like punk cover of it, and I'm like, this is totally something that Elephant Gun Riot could do, just
Throw
live.
a halftime breakdown in there.
Put some
Shine
bass,
cymbal.
bass drops.
Yeah.
Go into some crabcore rock outs. Yeah. Back to the tribute band thing. A Twisted Sister tribute band. Just because Caitlin had to dress up like
With a crabcore band.
yeah.
I had to dress up as...
Yeah.
As Dee Snider.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd have to. Oh my god.
I
What
had
are you
that visual.
talking
I had
about?
that visual, and I'm like, oh my god.
Oh!
Those are the best outfits ever.
What do you want to do? I want to rock.
Yes.
I feel like this question was probably directed at me, but you're all going to answer because then I can be like,
Okay.
what's the furthest place you have all traveled to? Oh, wait, you all have traveled to. So wait, as a band or individually?
Answer for both. As a band, you
I
guys
took it
have
as a
gone
band,
to-
which would be Portland, right? No, it'd be Bozeman.
Boise's farther.
Boise.
Oh, Boise.
Yeah, I think, well, time-wise, Boise is further. I mean,
Well, where's the farthest in Montana?
Bozeman.
I think Billings is
No,
the furthest
Boise's
away
pretty
from
far.
here, and Bozeman's in between that.
Yeah, we've never played Billings yet. But probably it's either Boise or Portland. Whatever the mileage distance is, but that's the furthest we've gone.
I think Boise's further away.
I think it is.
I think it's further
For
away.
those fact checkers out there. Correct us.
One of the two. Furthest I've been is Florida. I haven't been outside the country except for Canada, and that's like right next door.
Yeah.
Counts.
I studied abroad, so I've
Ooh.
been all over.
I feel like there's a million jokes.
There it is.
There's probably. We also had when is our next show?
That would be this Friday.
This Friday, Hell's Bells. We have tickets available on our Big Cartel store, elephantgunriot.bigcartel.com. Friday. And
Okay.
for everybody who buys a ticket through us, you have to buy it through us, you can win this guitar.
Show him, Zach. Come on, Zach.
Shit.
Don't drop it. Don't break the guitar that we're going to give away to someone.
Oh my. Ooh, that is gorgeous.
Ooh.
It is brand new.
Wow.
It's a Les Paul. It's got the hardware on it still up here, the tags and everything. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Just for, what? I've got it. Just for buying a ticket through us. Let me take that sticker off right there.
I'm gonna show that guitar. Look at that thing. That is beautiful.
Well,
Yeah.
the phone's still on it too. So,
Yeah.
you know.
So yeah, basically if you buy a
Brand
ticket
new.
through us, every ticket you get a raffle into this guitar. And let's say you go on our store and you're like, boy, I don't have the new baseball tee from Elephant Gun Riot. That's a $20 shirt. If you buy that, you get 2 more entries. So after you buy a ticket, every $10 spent on our online store, you get another entry. So let's say you want to take your girlfriend and buy a shirt, you can have a total of 4 entries.
Ooh.
If you buy the $20 baseball t-shirt.
Fair enough.
That's the next shirt.
Basically,
math.
buy tickets, get a chance
Oh,
to
God.
get a guitar.
I was waiting for it. It's like he's gonna drop that.
And it actually is a pretty BA guitar, not gonna lie.
Plays pretty good.
It does sound
Plays
really good.
really good.
According to Sean.
Sean Cioli.
We were all here. One more question came through. If you had any place you could perform or craziest, where would that be and what song?
The Gorge and any song. I love the Gorge. That place is awesome.
Reading Festival.
Oh,
And I'd want to play Kickstart My Heart. Not even one of my own songs. Just because that is the best song to play live. Just fact. In my opinion.
And she's studied abroad, so I'm curious what her answer is.
oh, well,
It's probably
I mean,
Reading also.
right. There's so many festivals. It's hard to keep track, but it'd be really cool to get on a festival track for a season and play some of those big places.
Like download and stuff.
Download. I mean, there's a ton.
Yeah.
And you know what? Okay, one thing that I really would like to try to do. Well, I don't know if I should mention it. Basically, we have a couple band members that need to get some passports because there is something I really want to do, but we can't do it unless they have passports. A reminder.
What makes you think I've already done it? I haven't.
I'd bet on it.
Like, I'm
Wasn't
pretty
that
sure
worried about
none of you. Well, you have yours.
I just
but
renewed mine.
They probably won't let me back in the country.
Yeah,
That's the hard part.
You're
You
out,
can get
you're
in Canada
out.
easy. It's getting back into the U.S.
Yeah, I know.
That's not. I don't want to do Canada. I
Thanks,
mean, I would
Obama.
love to play
Yeah.
Canada, but that's not what I was.
She loves
That's what
Canada.
to do.
For those listening, she loves Canada.
I would actually like to see more of Canada. Surprisingly, all my travels haven't really been north of here. So, okay. Another question came through from Ted. What would be your favorite group or groups to open for? Oh, I really want to open for the Foo Fighters.
There you go. That's like the winner right there.
Can I pick 2?
Yes.
Probably 30 Seconds to Mars.
Oh, yeah.
And Seven Dust.
Definitely.
I thought you were going to say Breaking Benjamin.
So sweet.
No.
We'd be a great fit for 30 Seconds to Mars.
Yeah.
Mike's like
Hashtag
way
30
ahead of
Seconds
you.
to Mars, but somebody next to her.
I think Foo Fighters would be cool because it's such a party atmosphere.
Yeah.
But then I
Yeah.
think for the obvious correlation, Paramore would be another good one.
Yeah.
But who headlines that? Well, us. But out of those two,
Paramore, though,
What,
has
Foo Fighters?
transformed
Yeah.
so much. And we're going to talk about
Yes.
favorite albums in a little bit. But you guys, I know, wanted to kind of flip this on me and ask me, because there's 3 of you, there's 1 of me.
Mhm.
So we
so
can...
it's gonna go fast. And
So, yeah.
one answer goes fly through it.
I mean, it's a good thing you spoke up because we'll just keep talking.
Yeah, we'll talk forever.
We'll talk forever.
Yeah. So how long ago did you start the fan show?
So it
For
was
those who don't know.
No, what is the fan show?
No,
Oh,
how long ago?
3 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was in the corner of our spare room at the house that we lived at before I moved it up to the attic. And I just held the microphone and talked super quiet. and it turned out terrible. I just said whatever came to mind for like 25 minutes. I was like, okay, I think we're done. And then I just started inviting friends, like, hey, come be and talk sports with me. And they're like, okay. And then I had a co-host for a little bit, and it was a weekly thing. And we would record, and because I was such a noob with technology, we'd record for like an hour and a half, and then I would spend the next 3 hours editing down to like an hour, 45-minute episode. So it was crazy ridiculous.
Yeah. It seems like what I find amazing is the fact you've done it for so long consistently.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that, like, everyone and their mom has a podcast or has attempted to do a podcast. And I know people that have tried, like, 3 times to do a podcast, and I'm still, like, I've rebranded once, and it was because I met with a guy that did logos, and he said, I can do a great logo for what you've got, but if you want to get taken seriously and have something that's a bit more marketable, you might want to consider rethinking the name. Because the original name was The Butt Fumble Show, because it was a
Mark
reference...
Sanchez.
Exactly, reference for people that would know football. But then I started talking to people like, fans and wrestlers, wrestling fans, and people, fans of everything. So it is the fan show, and I'm a fan of many things, music included. So
Do you put sports into or wrestling into the sports category?
I put it in the nonsense for sure, because it's it's a certain demographic of audience.
Favorite wrestler?
Favorite wrestler?
All time.
Man.
Alive or dead?
Alive. It comes down to 3, and for different reasons. So, The Rock, because he was just great on the microphone, and everybody knows The Rock, and he was always fun to watch, very entertaining. Shawn Michaels, I think, though, was like the best in-ring performer.
Yeah.
And then Chris Jericho, I think, is like one of the greatest throughout the whole world.
Yeah.
So.
See, I like Rey Mysterio. He's one of my favorites. I thought him in the cage was great. Not the cage, but instead of the ring. I used to be a huge WWF fan back in the day. Mankind, Undertaker, Mr. Sacco, just shoving it down your throat.
Yeah, I don't know how we
This is
survived
finishing, by the way.
childhood
I
with
don't know what
backyard wrestling.
I don't know anything really about wrestling except
neither.
for one time I was volunteering in an orphanage in South Africa, and one of my coworkers was with me, and he's this big bald guy,
Yeah.
and all the kids were like, "Big Show, Big Show," and I was like, "Oh, how cute, how clever! They're calling Big Show." I had no idea.
I
It
don't
was
know
a
what the Big Show
wrestler.
is.
Yeah.
I figured it out.
Yeah.
He's the big show.
Big
Yeah.
Show.
Yeah,
It's,
it's a
but
big
you know
deal.
what's so
Yeah.
funny is you look at a photo of him, I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
get it.
that
I
makes
see why the
sense.
kids were calling him that.
Wrestling's fantastic. So, you obviously play drums.
Yeah.
Play still. How long have you been playing?
Well, I mean, if we don't count the years that I haven't been playing, because it's been a few now. But I played since I was 16, so about 16 years.
Favorite band you played in?
It was Not For Now, just because we did the most.
Yeah.
It was.
That's with Tom, right?
That was with Ben and AJ.
Okay.
We had guitar player problems. You guys have had vocalist problems. Part of my audition as the drummer, because before me they had drummer problems, was just showing up 3 times in a row to make sure that I was actually going to keep showing up to practice. So it was a lot of fun, though. I mean, we played Boise and Oregon and over in Seattle at Studio, what is it, 8, 7?
Studio
7.
Studio
Close
7. We opened
7.
for 12 Stones, so that was fun.
That's badass.
Nice.
Did we play 12
We did.
Stones? Yeah.
We did play with them.
Did we?
Yeah, at Octopalooza. You used my drum set.
Oh, yeah.
Mike's always got the best sounding drum set, so.
Yeah,
It's 'cause I
he
tuned my
did.
drums.
That he does. Not a lot of people know how, but he does.
Yeah.
Favorite sports team?
49ers,
Why is
Oh.
that?
because they're awesome.
Is there a reason why? I find it curious because people who are fans of teams other than the local teams, I always find it interesting why they're fans of, I grew up there actually. Oh, my dad was a huge fan, or certain players. So why are you a big 49ers?
So it does have a little bit to do with my dad, but not like that. He had a stroke when I was very young, and so he had very limited mobility with, like, he could walk, but he walked with a limp, and he had limited use of, like, his left arm. So when it came to sports, he wanted to show me really bad, but he, like, just couldn't show me a lot of the stuff. So I had neighbors, and they were my best friends growing up. They were from the Bay Area. So when it came to football, you either played football at recess or you got left out and you just sat by the door and waited until you had to go back in. So they taught me football, and that was the reference that they always used was, 49er players. And when it came time when it came time to pick a team, I was just like, so I should be like a Seahawks fan then, right? They're like, no, you shouldn't.
Interesting. That's a better reason than mine. I grew up loving the Miami Dolphins because of their colors. And Dan Marino. Because he was the best quarterback available in NFL Quarterback Club I had on the Super Nintendo. That's my reason for liking them, but I don't care about it anymore.
I don't think it really matters as long as you stick with them. Like, it has to be a certain age, like I'd say 10 and younger. Anything beyond that, it's just like, I don't know if I believe that you like this team.
Yeah. The thought of a bandwagon fan drives me a little bit nuts, but at the same time it's like, okay, I grew up being a Players fan. I'm a fan of players, so if they move around, I kind of tend to follow them, and then I'll enjoy that team. Like, for example, Dwayne Wade is my favorite NBA player, and so now he's with LeBron in Cleveland, so I'm like, oh, okay, I like Cleveland, and I like LeBron too, but I don't really have a loyalty to a team, especially since the Sonics run around. Obviously, if I'm rooting for a football team, it's the Seahawks, because my dad grew up, rooting for them all the time. We went to Seahawks games, so it's kind of built into my DNA like that, but, as my coworker says, there's plenty of room on the bandwagon, so hop on. So, all right. He's a Steelers fan, so.
Oh, that was pretty shocking last weekend too. A lot of shocks in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's the
I
part of
don't-
football I love.
I don't think I was expecting the Jags to pull it off.
If you would have told me that
that was a very high scoring game, by the
if
way.
you had told me that the Steelers would have scored 42 points, something like that.
It was
45 to
45.
42.
It was kind of crazy.
If you had told me Steelers scored that many points, I'm like, okay, well, they probably won by 20 something. The fact that they lost. And Bortles.
When
That's
did the
pretty
Jaguars
crazy.
get good?
This year.
Yeah, they've been hovering there, but yeah, this is definitely.
Well, I'm definitely rooting for them to beat the Patriots.
Definitely.
Well,
Although, I wouldn't mind the Vikings destroying the Patriots at the Super Bowl.
That's what I think it's going to be. I'm not sure if
Wishful
they're going to
thinking.
destroy him. It'll be a good game.
I just think that if you would have told me this weekend that there would be an upset, a shootout, a walk-off touchdown, and then a blowout, I probably would have said, okay, so the upset was probably, I don't know, maybe I would have gone with the Eagles and Falcons because that was like the closest one. But the walk-off one, I would have said, well, Breeze is just that good, and not thought that the Vikings did it. And then as far as the shootout, I would have thought, oh, well, maybe the Titans and Patriots were that closely matched. And then the blowout, I would have thought Steelers and Jaguars.
Exactly. It was a crazy weekend. It was fun though. I watched 2 of the games, so always a good time. So Super Bowl predictions.
I have sort of a soft spot for the feel-good story, and right now it's the Vikings.
The Vikings.
Because
Case Keenum.
a history of just misery, and you could make up for it in a single mic drop moment if you host the first Super Bowl that you win. Like that's your moment in
Crazy.
That'd be
history.
insane.
That would be cool.
That'd be so insane.
So-
I'm excited. And I would really love for it to finally be like, my dad will never have to say again, when you're a Vikings fan, you learn to live with disappointment.
Yeah, you
Like,
could.
we will never have to say that again if we win the Super Bowl in our stadium.
Victory ice cream instead of Drown
Right.
of Sorrows ice cream.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you win once, and then you're just disappointed constantly after that.
Well, it happens. It
Here comes
happens.
Mike. Womp,
It
womp.
happens in my lifetime. It took. I mean, when was the last time they were even at the Super Bowl? Like 77 or something?
Yeah,
I mean,
it was a
10 years
while
before
ago.
I was even born. Wasn't it 77?
Is that how old you are?
This really hits you hard,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
No. But yeah,
Huh.
I'm excited.
So
But
that's
we'll
the
see.
fan show.
Yeah.
Sorry, got on tangents. I'll talk about sports forever. Favorite athlete you've ever interviewed?
I haven't had a chance to interview an active athlete yet, but favorite former one is a guy who's been on the show twice. He's a former New York Jets All-Pro linebacker, and Marvin Jones. He's a head coach for the Indoor Football League now, which is what the Shock used to be. So he's been on a few times. He was part of a fantasy football league that I did this year, and he will throw shade at you left and right. And it's just
No shame.
It's hilarious
Nice.
too. So that's a lot of fun.
So what teams, or tell me about your show. I know about it for people that are listening. Like, you go out around, I see pictures of you with the Wolfpack, right? Is that what
Yeah.
it's called? I saw
Yeah.
you did like a live on remote podcast 2 weeks ago at the Field House.
Yeah, so when it comes to the local teams, I try to give them as much coverage as I can. And for the Wolfpack, they're a semi-pro team that any coverage, any exposure is good because you're trying to attract young talent. So bringing the show, it's something that nobody else, no other teams really have that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like gives like a more professional feel. And the players love it because it's like what they ultimately aspire to be as players. They want to be interviewed post-game. They want to see their highlights, on something. And so I kind of give that to them. So it gives me the feel goods because I know that these guys are really good athletes, but it's an opportunity for me as well. I mean, it's give and take, and I'm not saying that there always has to be something in it for me, but it's a nice bonus.
Oh, totally. That's cool. So one thing I've seen a lot of pictures of that I'm disappointed is not here tonight is the belt.
Yes.
What's the story behind the belt?
So the story behind the belt is that when, in my second season last year, we decided, there was a group of friends, we all decided to get together into a fantasy football league. And we were just going to do it for fun. And somebody said, we need like some kind of incentive because some people are like that. I need incentive in order to set my lineup every week. And I said, well, if you guys know somebody that wants to throw in a trophy or a ring, because we were, on Twitter, we were following and being followed by enough accounts out there. Somebody had to be like, hey, we'll spot you a trophy or a ring for this. Mm-hmm. So Undisputed Belts got back to us and they said, hey, we'll throw in one of our pre-made belts for the winner. And I was like, that's awesome. So then they came up with the capability to do custom belts. They have an engraver. You send them your images and they'll do it on the plates. They have color choice of plates, silver or gold, choice of belt, black or white. And I reached out to him after the season was over and I said, how much would it be for me to get a custom belt for my show? I just wanted to put one in a case and put it up on my wall in the studio and just be like, that's my belt.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, because of the exposure you gave us during the season, we'll just do it for free and we'll call it square. And I was like, okay.
Sure.
So I did that, and then I remember taking it with me And I had run out of business cards, and somebody asked me, like, what's with the belt? And I said, I ran out of business cards. And so they looked at me, and I was being completely serious, but they thought I was joking. They started laughing. And so I was trying to figure out what can I do with this, because I kind of like being out and about with it. It's a conversation piece. Mm-hmm. So when I would go to the different indoor games and people would have like their MVP or whatever, I would pick a player that I thought was the player of the game, give it to them for a moment, snap a picture, do the post-game interview, make them feel badass, and then go on to the next. So it's been something that came out of nowhere and has become like a staple of the show, and I'm really happy that was able to happen.
It's awesome.
That's cool. I like it. I was really satisfied.
You weren't special enough to get it.
I was like,
do you want to see a chicken belt, Zach?
You don't get to be badass.
yeah,
tonight.
I'll absolutely take a belt. For anybody out there watching that wants to give me a belt, title belt, I got a belt for Christmas. It's elastic. It's amazing.
It's for all those wings and
the wings
slices
and
of pizza.
Yeah.
So you can just stretch it out. Are you wearing it right now?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, it's like woven and elastic.
Yeah,
that's actually awesome.
exactly. Shout out to the GF.
To
Yeah.
answer your
Boom.
other question, though, as far as like what is the show, it was something that I get annoyed with analysts and experts that I see on TV, because they sound really condescending and like they know everything, and then they're wrong, and you're just like, you get paid to be wrong somehow. So I've had a lot of people start their own podcast, ask me like, what's my trick? And I say, I'm just honest with myself, because it's the fan show, and as a fan, I just ask what I think a fan would want to know. Mm-hmm. I ask stuff from me as a fan's perspective, and it always makes for a great conversation. And that's been probably the best part of doing the show, is that anybody can run into a celebrity and snap a selfie with them. I get to have full-on conversations with them that separates my interaction with them from everybody else. So I don't know if they'll remember me down the road if I run into them and be like, hey, you did that interview on my show, because I'm sure they do a lot of interviews, but still, like, that's my 15 to 20 minutes, with them that nobody else gets.
That's super cool, though. Super cool. I like it. I think it's awesome. Like I after like we connected, however many months ago, I started like checking it out and listening to some stuff, and I'm like, it's pretty cool. I like it. So
That's a lot of footwork.
Yeah. Oh, I can imagine. Like, that's why I wanted to set this up with you. Is pretty cool, because I'm like, we like to do media stuff, do Facebook Live, and then you're on Spreaker and
iTunes, iHeartRadio, and SoundCloud. Which iHeartRadio was just a new development this year. You had to meet a certain criteria that I finally met, and they approved it. So that's been a big advantage with the show as far as people and an audience, because they associate importance with big names.
Mm-hmm.
If they feel like you're important enough to be on here, then I'll give it a listen, instead of like, oh no, you're on like momsbasement.com.
Yeah,
it's not for
which
me.
actually you need a membership for that. I don't know. I saw it on Reddit. I don't know.
One thing I was going to ask you guys. One thing I wanted to know, because it seems like it doesn't matter how old you get or what you do, where you go, that there's always some type of like competition in your respective field. Mm-hmm. And I know for me, I see that on like an almost constant basis, because one, everyone that thinks that they can do something will try. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times I will give someone a few minutes of my time and say, hey, I liked what you did. Let's collab on something and try to work together. But there's people that I've been accused of like stealing segments from people. And I'm like, okay, honestly, your segments aren't worth stealing. You started your podcast after you were on mine, and your first 5 guests were all guests that I had on my show first.
That? Who did it? Say it.
Not going to do names. I don't want to do names.
I'm kidding, I'll do it.
But, and then I have people that they have, the verified Twitter account, the blue check mark, and they think that there's something special, but yet, like, I'm out there putting in the footwork, and they're just like, I'm badass because I have a blue check mark next to my name on Twitter, even though I don't do anything. So, in the band world, do you guys still run into that? Like, kind of petty competition every once in a while?
I think you do. I mean, one thing that, me personally, I've learned to get over now is just, like, everybody measures their own success in their own way. Like, putting out our last EP, to me, was like, I don't really care what anybody else is doing. Like, whatever bands want to like us or not like us, I mean, not saying that's, like, a thing, but I know there's, like, bands that, like I say, compete, like, oh, I want to play here, I want to play there, ooh, we're playing the same night, ooh, I hope we do better, like, kind of that friendly competition, I'll say. But I've really come to, terms recently that, like, I hope everybody just kills it. Yeah. Because right now in my head, like, I'm so happy with, like, the music we're putting out and what we're doing, and, like, watching certain numbers just grow completely, like, that's just growing on its own. People are listening to it, and it's growing, and it's building on its own because people seem to be liking it. So in my head, like, that's kind of how I measure success. And so if that's what we're doing, it's not that I don't care what they're doing, but I hope they find success in their own way. If it's the same way, awesome. If it's different, great. Because we know bands that their main goal is to just play out on the road as much as they can, play in front of 30 people, play in front of 10 people. And then we know some bands that want to play here in town a lot and play killer shows all the time. So I think it just kind of depends on what you want to do and what is success to you. And I think that if you do that, the competition aspect of it just kind of doesn't exist, at least in my head. But there's a lot of things in my head that exist.
Well,
if that makes any sense at all.
I was gonna say, like, I mean, I haven't, like, personally run into a lot of, like, petty negative types of competition, like, one-on, like, directly. I mean, you know, we hear stuff through the grapevine, you know, but, like, in general, I think this, you know, at least the scene here is pretty, like, we're all pretty supportive of each other.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, if some other band gets, like, a cool opening slot, we're like, oh, that would have been cool to do, but, like, that's awesome that they got to do that. Mm-hmm. You know, just, like, tons of, you know, there's enough opportunities to go around, for sure. Like, there's so many bands that tour, and there's so many shows, there's so many clubs. It's like, there's plenty to go around, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
It's awesome. It's fun. I love going to shows and seeing other people in bands saying, what's going on? I haven't seen it, like, in 2 months, and, like, hanging out and grabbing a drink, and I don't know. I think it's all about just your frame of mind. I think people who kind of build up petty competition, I don't think they're comfortable with themselves or what they're doing as an artist.
Well, for me, what I learned, whether it's this or being in a band or whatever place you might run into that kind of thing, is that it's usually brought up by somebody else because something in their mind changed. Like a band, the show, it's a business, but yet you're always willing to help people. But at the end of the day, you kind of have to do what's best for business. And some people will take that the wrong way, and they'll take it personal, and they'll take it as like, oh, so you think you're better than me, and it's just not the case, you know. It's just like we're on different wavelengths.
Exactly.
We've got different thought processes. Like you think that would be good for you, maybe not for us, and vice versa. So I don't try to seek out like the pettiness and competition, but I know that it's out there, and it's kind of something that you just learn to roll with. I just am glad I'm not alone, and you know that it follows you no matter how old you get, no matter where you go in life.
Yeah, my favorite. There's this guy a while ago on Twitter who hopped on there. I was like, "You guys suck," and I was having like a really good day, so I was like, "Right on." I'm like,
"Haters gonna hate,"
and I'm like, "I totally agree." And he's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "No, I mean you guys really suck." I'm like, "I absolutely agree," and I'm like responding as the band. I'm like, "I think we're horrible." Like, couldn't agree more. And he's like, "I'm confused." I'm like, "I'm confused. Why you're confused? Like, we're horrible." And just kind of kept it going. I troll the troll, and by the end he's like, "All right, well maybe I'll give your stuff a listen." And I'm like, "You didn't even listen." Like, I was hoping he did, and he hated it because I was like poking the bear, and you know, I don't care if you like my music. I mean, I want you to, sure, but at the same time though, I'm not making the music to make some random person on Twitter happy.
Yeah. I'd rather have people love and hate it than be like indifferent about it.
Yeah, I'd rather
have an opinion. Give me an opinion.
Exactly. But first, buy the new EP.
Then generate your opinion.
Then tell us.
So the way I want to wrap this thing up is favorite album. It was the last question on the thing, and I feel it's pretty relevant to all of us.
We did have a couple other questions come through.
Oh, well, yeah, go for
some
it.
questions.
Are you sure? Can we do a couple more?
Yeah,
I got all the
We had
time
a couple
in the
more
world,
come in, so
let's do questions and then favorite
And then
albums.
favorite
and then
album.
Favorite album. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll
Okay.
do QA part 2.
And this might even be a question for you as well. What are the most shows you've played in a row? So as a band, I wouldn't say we've done more than 4.
We've done 4 in a row.
4 in a row?
Yeah.
We have?
I think so.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, we did
1, 2,
Thursday,
3.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
We didn't do a
We've
Sunday.
done 4.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, we did
Thursday.
Spokane, Wenatchee, Seattle, Portland. Pretty
Boom.
sure.
Cool.
I'm pretty sure.
No, you're right. It's 4. I can't remember. I remember Seattle, Portland. I can't remember what the 4th city was though.
I'm pretty sure it was the first time we
Wenatchee?
played Wally's.
I love Wenatchee.
I love Wally's.
And I know you had said, Richard, that you usually do about 3 podcasts a
Yeah,
week.
so
but
I do every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It used to be at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, the time that we're going on now. But I really wanted to try to get into a better time zone that was better for both the West and the East Coast, so I moved it to 4.
So we screwed everything up.
No, it's fine because it really depends. I mean, the
Late
beauty
night.
of a live podcast is that if you don't catch it live, you can catch it as a podcast the next day and be caught up on everything. And Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday is nice because it gives the weekend plenty of time to settle down, and then you don't have to worry about Friday because everybody's off doing their own thing anyway, and nobody wants to compete with that.
Yeah, it's true.
last question that we had. do we have regular jobs?
Unfortunately, yes.
Full-time rock star.
Do you want to share,
Almost.
Richard, of the fan show?
So for almost 2 years, I worked as a service coordinator for AutoNation while I was doing the show, which was nice because I was off by 5, so I could go home, prep, and then go live by 7. And then I had the weekends off, and for a lot of the IFL games, they're on weekends. So if I needed to travel somewhere, I was just taking that Friday or Monday off. But then I got my first long-term sponsorship deal, and it seemed like things were kind of picking up, and maybe I could make this thing like an actual day job. And so I left there, put in my notice, and I started just, sending emails, advertising, all this. And, it was tough because a lot of the hits I was getting was for people that run daily fantasy because they're looking for that exposure because that's the hot thing right now. We're in Washington where you can't gamble online like that, so it's kind of falling on deaf ears here. So they weren't getting the clicks they wanted. I understand that. My reach outside of Washington, although I do have some, isn't quite up to par with that. So I had to go back and get a job for the holiday season, so work at Just Sports part-time, which is good because it creates
Right up the alley.
conversation,
Yeah, exactly.
right up the alley. Great discount, so that's
Of
always a
course.
bonus.
You get free content and a good discount.
Do they sell belts?
No,
Ah.
unfortunately no.
Do they sell elastic belts?
No, they sell pajama pants and activewear.
Well, I mean, what
I
else
bet
do
the
you
pajama
need?
pants have elastic.
Are
Active
those
wear,
like
active wear.
yoga pants?
Active wear.
Going to
What does
the
that
persona
even mean?
activewear. Haven't you seen the active
No,
wear?
I know what it
active
means.
wear?
I know
Eating
what it
ice
means.
cream
Video?
in activewear.
No, I haven't seen
Yeah,
that.
everything.
I haven't seen that.
It's a
What?
great video. You need
Oh
Send it
my
to me.
gosh, we're YouTubing
Post it
this
on the
later.
Banter.
You guys can parody it. I think this would be great.
Perfect.
What's your day job, Caitlin?
My day job, I work remote, which is great. So I have a lot of flexibility. If we have a show, I can get on the road. But I work as a project manager for an insurance tech company.
Ooh,
Yeah, probably the best way to put it.
fancy stuff, but the
Yeah.
good flexibility is.
Oh, excellent flexibility.
Probably.
I'm very, very blessed to have a job that I work from home and can be anywhere. So it's easy for me.
So I am a supply chain manager at a company in Coeur d'Alene that manufactures scientific research equipment.
Sounds so fancy.
Scientific. You gotta use the word scientific.
No, I
Research
could
equipment.
get pretty technical.
He's
on
like
you guys, but-
miles
cool.
ahead of all of us right now.
Hey, I have my master's too. It's not just like
Oh, we're gonna do that.
we're gonna one up. Like, well,
What do you do, Zach?
I work in television.
Lucky.
I work in TV. I get to be creative every single day and make awesome things and get paid for it. I direct TV shows. I work on special projects, Facebook videos,
Hashtag
salespeople.
content.
yeah, he
All
saved the
kinds of
band so much
content.
money because we don't have to pay anybody to do any of our videos
Yep, did the
or
music
anything.
video,
Zach does it
equipment.
all.
Did the
It's all
music video
kit.
ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, in this room we did the music video, everything.
Yeah.
In about half the room.
Green screen right there.
Yeah, you can see the behind the scenes on our YouTube page and our
Yep.
Facebook. But yeah, it's pretty fun.
Weren't you also a gold medalist at one point in music? Like, because you're a
We don't talk
competitive
about those days
person.
anymore. we don't talk
Those are
about
the
those days.
dark
Those are
days.
days. My girlfriend's learning about those days right
Dark
now.
ages.
Yeah. Like, what? I'm like, I was 45 pounds lighter.
And a gold medalist.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we all have day jobs. And my brother, he works for the state. He's a HVAC specialist, so killer job. And then Pat is a lawyer.
Pat's, yeah,
So-
I was gonna say Pat's a lawyer.
Yeah, we're all super blessed. We have really good jobs that, it can be so much worse than what we have. So, I don't want to speak for everybody, but everybody hates their job at some point. But
Sure.
for the most part, it's like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to show up Friday because we're going to go play in Wenatchee. All right, cool. Sweet. See you later.
Yeah.
See, I want a job in radio so I can just take what I learned there and like apply it here. But it's
Yeah.
like the most impossible line of work to get into
Yeah, it's
in
tricky.
this area that I've ever experienced in my life.
It's a pretty small club.
Yeah. Everywhere asks for like a sound bite, and I'm just like, I have like 260 episodes that you can just
Yeah.
go divulge,
Check it
you
out.
know? Hey, binge.
It's pretty crazy. Any other questions?
No. I don't think so. Unless any pop up in the next 10 seconds.
Who's gonna sit here?
When did the resident
So,
Perfect.
favorite
Nothing.
album. This is going to be probably a really interesting conversation.
Let's do top 3 each. As I
Thank
choke
you.
to death.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay,
three.
top
That's
three.
fair.
We'll make
Wait,
it
who's
easy.
going first? Girls first. So my
Ladies
favorite
first.
are
Favorite? No, I need to think about it. I need a second.
10 seconds.
What did you guys say?
10.
uh,
Okay, I'll go first.
okay, thank you.
I I'm going to try to spread them out a little bit. So, the album I listen to probably the most of all time, maybe not anymore, is, if this counts, Tom Petty's Greatest Hits. Just because every song on there just is awesome.
Kind of counts.
I feel like Greatest Hits is like a cheesy
Great.
cop out, but
Okay.
I will accept
Oh,
that.
no, okay, in that case, I
We've
take it back so I
genuinely
get
talked
4.
about that
I take that one back. I take that back. Blackbird by Alter Bridge was killer because of just the guitar work on it and just, I think it's fantastic. I listen to a lot. I also listen to Lamb of Gods. Boy, which one?
Wrath or Ashes of the Wake, which one?
I think Wrath I probably listen to more.
Nice.
And then number 3 for me, I'll go something newer. I'll say Intervals. Their third release.
Oh,
Shape and Colors, whatever it's called. I don't know the name of it.
No,
I don't do words.
that's their last one. The Shape of Color. That was the last one. Are you talking about the newest one?
No. The third release.
So they had the EP, the first full length, and then Shape of Color, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm looking up right now.
No,
it's one of my favorite albums, and I don't even know what it's called.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
I
That
forgot
sounds
about.
about
I forgot
right.
about their first.
Yeah, The
EP.
Way Forward is the new one.
Yeah, I forgot about their first release.
Yeah. The Shape of Color. Yeah.
Yep.
By
Yeah.
Intervals.
Yeah.
The Shape of Water.
So good.
Is that a movie?
Yeah.
Oh, that movie's actually been doing very well at the award season this year.
That's what I heard.
Yes, it's about a fish lizard man and a deaf woman. I honestly, it's a
Sounds
Guillermo del
intriguing.
Toro movie.
I love his movies,
I honestly don't.
I'd
I
probably
want to
like
see
it.
it. I just don't. I haven't read the synopsis.
Sounds interesting.
It just,
So, Mike, what are your favorite 3?
Top 3. Oh.
Didn't you just give us one, though, Zach?
I give you
I
4.
think he gave us
Oh, okay.
4.
Yeah, he
yeah,
did.
he
Tom
kept going.
Petty.
Kept going.
Alter Bridge, Blackbird,
Okay.
Wrath.
Yep.
Or no, did I say Sacrament? I love all of them.
You like? So
You said
those
Wrath.
3.
Wrath is really
You
good.
said
Wrath's
Wrath.
really good.
And then
Shape of
Intervals, The Shape of Color.
So I think one of them would definitely have to be The Living Infinite by Soilwork. That is an awesome album. And probably This Is War by 30 Seconds to Mars. And either, God, which Soundmist album?
Next.
No.
It's
I
like,
love
no.
those guys, but not that one.
I'm not taking the easy way out.
Either,
Seasons is my favorite.
yeah, it's probably either Animosity or Seasons.
Yeah.
I'd probably pick Animosity. I think those are the top 3. But yeah, if you like Swedish metal, check out Soilwork, The Living Infinite. It's awesome.
Are you ready to answer, Caitlin? We need to go to Richard
No,
first.
I'm not ready to answer. Only because I don't think I'm going to remember the names, what the albums are actually called.
We can look it up. We have the technology.
That's
Has the
kind
Googles.
of.
All right, Richard, your turn.
Okay, so I was a bit of an emo kid back in the day. I didn't have like the black hair, but I did have it kind of like in front of my eyes, and would do the flip thing every once in a while. So there's a lot in that era. I know that My Chemical Romance had a huge influence on me when I got
Yeah.
into bands.
Black Parade?
That first,
I think
first
3
one.
Cheers for Sweet Revenge
Yeah?
was really, but for me, Motion City Soundtrack never gets like a lot of love, and Commit This to Memory was one of my favorite albums from front to back. So that's one of them. Probably Blink-182's "Take Off Your Pants and Jacket," just because it was
Love
like
the name of that.
a
So
staple
clever.
in our
So good.
in our growing up, childhood, because it was like an all pop culture. Then they had it on like the American Pie soundtrack, and it was everywhere, and it was really good, start to finish too. And the last one I think is Taking Back Sundays Louder Now, because that has Liar, What It Feels Like to Be a Ghost, Cute Without the E, and then Make Damn Sure, and that was solid songwriting and album too that I really enjoyed.
You guys are on top of it
Those are all
with
excellent
remembering names
choices.
of albums. I feel really bad. I should know these things. But it's kind of like when
You'll be
people
fine.
quote movies. I can never think of quotes for movies. I'm like, I love
You
movies,
gotta watch better movies.
but I watch a ton of movies. I love
Movie
movies. I
elitist over
can't.
here.
I never watch movies.
He'll quote stuff all the time from his TV shows. I'm like,
Arrested
I can't-
Development, The Office, front to back.
I love Arrested Development and The Office, and I just can't. It's
If I
not-
can give honorable
doesn't
mention to
stay.
2 albums, though, Guns N' Roses' Chinese Democracy.
Oh my
I
God,
think needs
really?
to. No, I'm totally kidding.
Mike.
And then
I wasn't
manifest
expecting it.
manifest just opinions. I thought
Hey.
that was.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I'll give that. Yeah, we recorded that one ourselves in Mike's parents' basement,
Storage room.
storage room. Yeah,
Sorry, Chinese democracy. I had to do a plug in there for that because it was so terrible.
yeah.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Good.
I was like, what?
So you just picked two horrible albums. What you're saying?
Oh, I picked a great one and a horrible one. You choose.
Baby's first rock record.
Yeah.
Okay, I do have one album that I listened to a ton, especially in high school, which was Chevelle's, the one that had the red on it. You know, their
yeah, that was a really good
breakout
one.
album. I did love
a
almost
good
every
one.
song on that album.
Yeah.
Chevelle just does great songwriting, like all the
Dude,
time.
they've been so solid. They're just
Yeah.
still around, still trucking.
I would love for us to open for
Oh my
them.
God.
Oh,
that'd be
please make it
That'd be-
happen.
Yeah.
I don't
would
know.
love
It
that.
might not be very cool.
You guys suck.
Yeah.
Oh gosh! Wow, I only came up with one answer, guys.
10 seconds.
10 seconds. 10 seconds. Another hour. Oh. Okay. Now, do I want to say? I don't really listen to albums anymore. I'm in.
Nobody does.
Nobody listens to albums anymore. So I have to go
That's true.
back. I listened to the Stained album a lot.
Which one?
The good one.
They had a couple good ones. The one with all their big hits on it.
Yeah,
Break
probably.
the Cycle.
Yes.
Yeah.
I listened to that a lot.
That's a
That
good
was
one.
like my first time getting into harder stuff. Which I mean, they're not super hard, but
No, their first album had some bangers on it.
yeah, it did.
For sure.
Okay, you have to keep in mind, I went through phases. So I started out as a country kid, and then I transitioned into the pop phase. And I do have to say I was a big fan of Ricky Martin and Lance Bass, so that I can tell you about my taste in men. And then I eventually moved on to rock music. And
Zach's like, I don't know what to like. What do I do right now?
yeah, and then
Words.
I'm really into like indie now, so it's kind of a weird.
Death Cab for Cutie is a guilty pleasure for me, and I've seen them live, and they put on a hell of a live show, and all of their albums are really good. So
Like Dashboard Confessional.
Taproot,
back in the
Blue Sky
day.
Research.
They've got some new stuff out though.
That's one of my
Good
top
one,
three.
too.
Oh yeah.
Taproot, Blue Sky Research. I used to listen to that nonstop.
there's two Fall Out Boy albums I really like too, From Under the Cork Tree and Infinity on High.
Those are
was
good.
Didn't
at
I
their peak.
sing
that's
a
good.
Taproot song with you guys, or was that the System of a Down song, or did we do both?
That would have been a long time ago.
I know, it was back in high school.
Steal this
Prob-
album.
Well, that's because it's probably. Well, I don't know.
I think
We
we
used to
did.
know how to play both. So.
Yeah.
That was what we did.
I've heard a girl do
Yeah.
she karaoke Toxicity, and it was pretty good. So there's another one to add to your possible cover arsenal. But use your love tonight. I want
Let's
to
not
hear it.
play it.
I hate that song.
We played that for our ninth grade talent show.
Did you?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No,
was
I
our first
didn't
show.
know you in ninth grade.
Oh, figure what a come up with conversation.
Well,
Cool.
that about does it for the first ever simulcast here, and I'm glad that you guys were able to be a part of it. But you guys have Hell's Bells Friday.
Yes.
I'm
Hell's
excited
Friday.
because Hell's Bells is an
Friday
awesome
nuts.
all-female AC/DC tribute band, best in the area.
They're
Always
the
put on
best.
a great show.
We're also playing with another Spokane local,
Dogtown.
420.
Yeah.
So, is it just Dogtown?
Dogtown 420.
So that okay.
Yeah, that's the full name.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just call them Dogtown because that's what I knew best because that's what they're first.
Some for
Okay.
Yeah. Dogtown. Dogtown sounds cool. Dogtown. Yeah, Friday, Hell's Bells at the Knit, us, Dogtown. You can win a guitar. It's back there somewhere. You can find, if you buy tickets through us, you have a chance to win the guitar. You can go to our Facebook page and find a link. You can just Google Elephant Gun Riot Big Cartel. Big Cartel's our online store. Or just message us and we can get you tickets. Oh my god. Mike can't play now.
Dislocated shoulder.
Hashtag Def Leppard.
Bad back, bad knees.
Yeah.
I would pay to see Mike play one-handed because I
I
think
don't
he'd
know why you
be good.
didn't let it go.
Some shows
Well,
he
I
does.
wasn't sure if you had it.
Yeah.
I could do a lot of those parts one-handed.
So you can follow me at Fan Show Official on Twitter. My Instagram and Snapchat are both the Fan Show, and then you can like me on Facebook, facebook.com/fanshowofficial, and of course the home base for the Fan Show, all things football and nonsense, is thefanshow.com. Elephant Gun Riot. You guys are at Elephant Gun Riot on Twitter and everywhere.
Right, at Elephant Gun Riot.
All right,
That's the nice thing about having a weird name.
plain and simple. I
I
like
found
it.
that name on the toilet.
It's actually, yeah, he left that part out earlier when you asked where we
Yeah,
came
just
up
bring
with
it
the
all
name.
around.
But it was,
You know,
unfortunately.
we give him a lot of crap for it, but having a weird name like that, it makes it easy. You know, because like elephantgunriot.com is available. All the at Elephant Gun Riot was not taken. You know, you search for us on Spotify. We're the only verified one. Makes it easy.
Yeah.
So if you guys are in the area in Spokane Friday, there's no reason not to go to this show because it's going to be awesome. And if you're not in the area, you just need to look up Elephant Gun Riot because they have a great album out right now, single Castaway, and you guys just put out another single as well, which was...
Well, not necessarily official yet, but we're deciding what song to do a music video for next. And
okay. That's what
I think it's still between two songs, but we're kind of letting people decide. Either, I think, Sword from Stone or Children of the Sun are kind of the two other songs that people really like right now.
We're going to do videos for all of them eventually.
Yeah.
Eventually,
It's just a matter of which order they're done in.
Yeah. We've been trying to hammer it out really quick, but with the snow, but like it's almost gone again, so...
Whichever one Mike has to dress up in, I'm all for. Like, whatever video concept
I'm waiting for the one who's
have.
dressing down. So
I'm just going to wear a sock.
on his head.
Yeah.
Yeah. They'll let your
A really
imagination
big one.
run wild.
Yeah. I'm gonna rob you!
What?
A sock over the head.
I know.
And then you're naked everywhere else. It's a visual.
I'm going to rob you.
I'm gonna rob you. Anyway.
All right, so for Zach, Mike, Caitlin, and
so many bad
myself,
visuals.
this was our first simulcast. It was a lot of fun, guys, so we'll have to do it again soon.
Yes,
but have a
for
great
sure.
show Friday. And
Thank you.
don't forget to tune in tomorrow night for an all-new edition of The Fan Show. Back to its same Fan Show time and its same Fan Show place. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, have a great night. Best of luck to you and yours. And it's all fun and games until you butt fumble. Good night.
Forgot your Go Niners.
She's a Vikings fan. I don't want to
Yeah.
rain on her parade.
I
I
mean-
never stopped you before, and I had Seahawks shit all over our house.
Well, I was going to say, look at the colors.
Oh, he did that on purpose.
I know.
Very much on
It
purpose.
was very methodical.
Nah, it's all good.
So when I have to wear
Your season's over, so...